What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Michael Sasser with Sasser Stills Boudoir here in Los Angeles, and Annie's our model today.
Hey guys.
She's gonna be helping us out, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest that you join the hundreds of thousands of, just thousands of photographers, but people are learning stuff every day. That's what YouTube's for, and I'm excited to be sharing with you guys today the best camera settings for boudoir photography. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. All right, so the first thing I wanna show you is the way that I set my settings. You know, me. The first thing I do, I shoot wide open. And what wide open means is the widest your aperture can be. So in this scenario, it's at 1.4. Now shutter speed isn't as important to me. The client isn't moving as much. I try and just keep that at least 1/200th of a second, just to ensure there will be no camera shake or motion blur. And then I set the ISO accordingly to get my exposure correct. Cameras are nice enough now that you don't really have to worry about ISO. Up to 1600, 3200. It's not gonna affect the image that much, so just really worry about your aperture, your shutter speed, so you're not getting blurry pictures, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, that is a perfect pose, and he's a pro. So this is gorgeous. You can see how nicely it's blurring out the background. Peek down this way for me, just that's gorgeous. And you can see a little bit of really nice fall off on her legs as well. All right, do you want peeking into the camera? Perfect, love it. Okay, so scenario number 2 is if you need more in focus. So sometimes it can be a little jarring if you're shooting and so much is out of focus. So in this example, you can see that there's really just, the fall off on her legs is just too much. So what I do in this situation is I'm gonna scroll up to 2.8. That's gonna allow a little bit more to be in focus. And to compensate, instead of changing your shutter speed, I'm just gonna change my ISO. I'm just gonna scroll up here until we get it back. Damn motorcycles. Okay, so to compensate, I'm gonna go up to 1600 for my ISO, and that's gonna allow the image to basically look the same as it did before. We still don't have to worry about motion blur, and we're gonna grab that same shot again. So go ahead and put a little arch in your back. That's gorgeous. Really point those toes, and close your eyes for a second. Love that. One more. Gorgeous. So in that scenario, that works way better because it's not as jarring. It doesn't quite, you know, if you're shooting at 1.4 in that situation, it just really screams like, oh my God, look at that out of focus background. It takes away from the person that you're shooting, so I try not to do that too much. The last scenario that you wanna do, assuming you're shooting something a little bit more fashion or you want even the background to be in focus, you can shoot a little closer to f4 or 5.6 or 32 if that floats your boat. I don't think I've ever shot at 32. That's definitely more of a fashion look, which I don't really shoot that often, but let's go ahead and take a look at what that would look like. You ready? Okay, so we're gonna change our settings here to, we'll go 5.6, we'll live a little. We're gonna really push this camera. 8,000 ISO, this is gonna be an advertisement for Sony. All right, that is perfect. Love that, peeking down into your right. That's great, so now we're getting everything in the shot. Squint your eyes just a little bit more. Yeah, there it is. So as you can see, the shutter speed is still 1/200th of a second. It doesn't have to be that, it can be a lot more. I just recommend that it's not any less, because at that point you'll start to get a little motion blur. Unless that's the look that you want, and then you can go down to about a 60th of a second, 50th of a second. You get some hair flipping, some motion in there, but depending on your situation, you know, I recommend shooting 1.4. I think it's super dreamy, I think it's super beautiful. 2.8 if it's a little too jarring and you need to get a little bit more depth in your image. And if you're shooting something more fashion or the background is really important to the photo, bump it up to f4 or 5.6 and just have your shutter speed at least 200th of a second, your ISO to match. You guys will be set. All right, guys, that was super fun being able to share with you the camera settings that I use, the camera settings that I recommend. So just remember that shooting wide open, you know, that 1.4, 1.8 kind of situation is really gonna get you those buttery backgrounds, that nice fall off. I know a few photographers who shoot pretty exclusively at 2.8, so if that ends up being your style, amazing. And lastly, I know there's the odd scenario where shooting 5.6 or higher makes sense. I don't know when though. And if you guys enjoyed this video, I've got lots more coming out. We've got a couple of cool little series coming out. We've got some challenge videos. We got some good stuff. So if you want to be the first to be notified of that, definitely subscribe. And until next time, get out and go shoot something. Try some new camera settings. If you always shoot at 1.4, try something at 5.6. If you always shoot at 2.8, try something at 1.4. You know, get out there, try something new, and I'll see you in the next one.